once again to CBSE Board Economics. I'm Saddam Hussain. We carry on with the second book of Class 12 for Economics, that is Indian Economic Development. We are discussing the last but one chapter. In that you have sustainable development and its aims. What exactly is sustainable development and what are its aims? What exactly sustainable development is? Have you ever given a thought that the present generation, if we go on using all the resources, utilizing the water resources, cutting the trees, deforestation, taking out all the minerals, fossil fuels, everything, a stage comes that nothing is left for the future generation. That exactly we're discussing it. So the present generation has become so selfish. They go on utilizing all the environmental resources. As a result, nothing is left for the future generation. That's why it's rightly said that we have borrowed this earth from our ancestors. We borrowed, not inherited. Hence, it becomes our moral responsibility to pass it on to future generations. We should utilize only that much what is required for the present generation, and if you are utilizing 10% of the resources, we should be regenerating and putting back 20% so that we can pass on this earth to the future generations. That exactly is sustainable development. Whatever we have inherited, we should pass it on, maybe adding more to it, so that the future generations will have a good life. That is sustainable development. And what are its aims? To preserve the environment, to preserve the resources. We should not destroy them. So it says on the board, what is sustainable development? What are its aims? Sustainable development is the development which will allow all future generations. Sustainable development is the development which will allow all future generations to have a potential average quality of life. They should also have the same life as we are leading. Not that we have got all the resources at our disposal, we destroy them. That is at least as high, which is being enjoyed by the current generation. So I repeat again, see, sustainable development is the development which will allow all future generations to have a potential average quality of life that is at least as high, which is being enjoyed by the current generation. So to put it in simple words, sustainable development is that we should frugally, or we should conservatively utilize the resources so that whatever lifestyle we have, the same lifestyle the future generation should also have. We should leave all the resources for them too. Look at these points. The basic aim of sustainable development is to ensure that present generation should leave stock of quality of life for the next generation, which is no less than what we have inherited. We have inherited, so we should pass it on to the future generation to have the same kind of good life what we have. So the second point, environmentalists have used the term sustainability in an attempt to clarify the desired balances between economic growth on one hand and environmental preservation on the other hand. What it means, we should grow the economy. It's no doubt about it, right? We should grow the economy, but when you are growing the economy, if you are destroying all the resources, then the future generation will suffer. And third point, for economists, a development path is sustainable if the stock of overall capital assets remains constant or rises over time. That means whatever the capital we have, whatever the capital assets of the country should remain intact. Maybe we should add more and pass it on to the future generations. So sustainable development aims, you can see, according to the International Union for the Conservation of Natural Resources, IUCN, International Union for the Conservation of Natural Resources, sustainable development refers to the development that meets the need for the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So sustainable development means we should utilize whatever the resources we need to meet our needs, but we should not compromise with the needs of the future generation too. That means we should look after the present generation as well as the future generations. And the next point, sustainable and equitable use of resources to meet the needs of the present and future generations without causing damage to environment. And the fourth point, I'll read out here. The fourth point is to prevent further damage to our life support system. To prevent further damage to our life support system, we should not damage that environment. And the last point, to conserve and nurture the biodiversity and other resources for long-term food security. To conserve and nurture the biodiversity and other resources for long-term food security. I repeat once again, what is sustainable development? This is of course an important question from the board's point of view. Please learn what are its aims. Sustainable development is the development which will allow all future generations to have a potential average quality of life that is at least as high, which is being enjoyed by the current generation. So we can put it this way. One, the basic aim of sustainable development is to ensure that present generation should leave stock of quality of life for the next generation, which is no less than what we have inherited. Second point, environmentalists have used the term sustainability in an attempt to clarify the desired balance between economic growth on one hand and environmental preservation on the other. For economists, a development path is sustainable if the stock of overall capital assets remains constant or rises over time. Sustainable development aims, look at there, according to the International Union for Conservation of Natural Resources, IUCN, sustainable development refers to the development that meets the need for the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Number two, sustainable and equitable use of resources to meet the needs of the present and future generations without causing damage to environment. Number three, to prevent further damage to our life support systems. And the last point you have is to conserve and nurture the biodiversity and other resources for long-term food security. So we're discussing what exactly is sustainable development, what are its aims, right? What exactly is sustainable? To put it in simple words, which you can use it in your exams. Sustainable development means, so we can sum it up the whole thing from one saying that we have not inherited this earth, we borrowed from past generations. We use the resources and we pass it on to future generations. So we're not inherited this. We don't have a right on this planet. We don't have a right on the environment. We don't have a right on the earth. We don't have a right to destroy the resources. So that is exactly sustainable development. Sustainable development means We should frugally, we should very miserly utilize the resources for the present generation and leave it for the future generation. That means we should not destroy the resources, we should not make any compromise for the future generations. They should have the same lifestyle what we have right now. There should be preservation of the capital, there should be preservation of the forest, there should be preservation of the environment, or we can rather add more to the present resources for the future generation so that they can also have a happy life. That's all we have time for this video. Till we meet next time, it's goodbye from Saddam Hussein. Don't forget to share, subscribe and like all our videos. Till we meet next time, I wish you all the best for your board exams. Bye bye guys.